Next part is philosophical questions. Question 1. Who helped you become the person you are today?
Who?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of people, I guess. Certainly all of my teachers, because I said right in the beginning that school was a second home, in many ways primary home for me. I think, in fact I know, that I could name all my teachers from first grade through high school. I've forgotten a couple of my college teachers, but see, what you got there, you got this lack of continuity there. Once you get into graduate school, I never forget any of the teachers there, because again, you've got some continuity. So yeah, teachers were very, very, very important in my life, and friends, and my kids, extremely important, and many of the books that I've read.
What inspires you?
What inspires, or
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you never know for sure what's going to inspire you. When I started working on caring, the dominant source was the Jewish philosopher Martin Buber, his relational ethics. I was just enormously moved by I and thou, and I used it in some of my classes and got such extraordinarily different reactions. There were students who told me that the book changed their lives, and I thought, yeah, mine too. And there were others who said they couldn't make any sense out of it at all and couldn't figure why in the world I would ever assign a book like I and Thou. So there you get these extraordinary differences. But that was certainly very influential for me. John Dewey's work's been influential for obvious reasons. William James, particularly the varieties of religious experience. I was influenced, this may be odd, but I was influenced by Pearl Buck. Not so much her novels, although I enjoyed those, but her two biographies. The biography of her mother, The Exile, even the title tells you something so important, and of her father, Fighting Angel, two very, very powerful books. I was very influenced by both of those. But you get influenced in small ways and in big ways. The ones I've been describing are in big ways, but I watch for things. You mentioned that I like mystery stories. That's one of my main recreations, mystery stories. And in one of P.D. James' novels, it's either her most recent or next to the most recent, there's a police incident, and a man reports the main numbers from a license plate. And he reports 341. And the other cop says, well, can we trust this? And the first one says, I think we can, because he's a mathematician. And he says that 341 is a special number. And it is a special number. If you add 1 to 2 squared plus 2 to the 4th plus 2 to the 6th plus 2 to the 8th, you get 341. See? I watch for things like that. They're enormously useful. You jot them down and they appear every now and then in lectures. So.
Numerology. What do you find uninspiring?
Sports. Money, business. I was tickled pink to hear that my pension fund money has gone up, and I'll be getting more every month. Mm-hmm. I thought that's just lovely, but that's it. I have no interest beyond that. When I was a kid, I loved baseball. In fact, I've got 2 crooked fingers to prove it. But now I have no interest whatever in sports. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think if people enjoy it, that's terrific. But I just don't have. You go through the newspaper, there are certain sections that you don't look at all. So I'm totally ignorant on that topic.
What is your favorite word?
Favorite word?
Mm-hmm.
Caring, I suppose.
Good answer.
I suppose that would be my favorite word, yeah.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
When I was in high school, I thought I would like to be a psychiatrist. And I read a lot of Freud. I wouldn't say that I understood it because I was a high school kid. My parents, as I said, hadn't even gone to high school. And most of my teachers wouldn't have had any interest in this. But I read Freud, and without totally understanding it, I became very, very interested in it. One of the most useful concepts I got from it was his notion of repression. And as I said, I didn't understand it entirely, but I believed, after reading Freud, that you do yourself a lot of harm when you repress certain thoughts. And I decided right then that I wasn't going to do that anymore. Now, so if you have really mean thoughts about someone, that's okay. You don't act on them, but you don't repress the thought. In fact, it can be a wonderful psychological experience, emotional experience, to let that thought go even farther than you might like it to go, until you finally have to laugh at it. You say, "Oh God, this is ridiculous, I'd never do that," and then it's over. It's over. Now, I don't know that that would be all that useful for other people, but it was enormously valuable for me to learn not to repress thoughts. They come in, let them come in, entertain them, stay with them for a while, and then the whole thing is gone. And as a result, maybe not as a result, but I don't think I've ever had a broken friendship. Little things may go wrong, you patch them up. So you don't stay mad at people. But of course, if they were with you while you were thinking some of these things, they might be mad at you. So that was one thing. I thought I might like to be a psychiatrist. And then I realized that I could never afford that education. And I wanted to be a teacher from second grade on. So that was pretty settled. And now when I think about it, maybe a botanist.
A botanist.
A botanist.
Sure.
Yeah. And then sometimes I think, well, an astronomer, that'd be neat too. So.
On that note, what profession other than your own would you not like to attempt?
Oh, most others, I suppose. I don't think I'd want to be a lawyer, although we have several in the family and they're very nice. And I don't think I'd want to be a surgeon, because I wouldn't want to be a surgeon. I'm quite content.
Okay. What is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie?
Mm-hmm.
Probably Casablanca.
Oh.
We have a lot of favorite movies. We like old movies. In fact, Vicki here can remember that she and another of my graduate students and I used to go to the theater in Palo Alto that showed all the old movies. And we enjoyed those tremendously. And if I think about, Casablanca, yes, but in general, you aren't going to believe this, but it is true. I love John Wayne movies. I have them all. And there's just something about those movies where the good and the bad are so distinct, that it's a moral refreshment to watch the old westerns, where the good and the bad are so distinct. In that sense, not like real life at all, but quite wonderful. So, who's my favorite actor? It'd be John Wayne.
John Wayne.
John Wayne. I didn't like his politics, mind you, but yeah, his movies I love. Yeah.
What about your favorite book?
Favorite book? I don't know. I'd have to think more about that. I have so many books that I love that that would be hard. In fiction, I guess it would be Bleak House. And I read Bleak House years ago, and then I read Harold Bloom's critique of it. And it was so lovely that I read it again. And it comes usually in 2 volumes, about 500 pages each, so it's about 1,000 pages. And if you can read a book that long and be sorry that it's ending, kind of wishing there was another volume there, then it's a pretty terrific book. And that's the way Bleak House was for me. Yeah. Somebody else back there likes Bleak House? Or you have the same reaction to... Yeah.
If you could tell President Obama one thing, what would it be?
Well, I don't know about one thing. I guess I would tell him, don't call it race to the top, because education isn't a race, even though the derivation of curriculum is a little racetrack, but never mind that. Education is not a race. And on the heels of that, I would say don't give money to people who are already doing well. Put together the equivalent, as I said last night, the equivalent of a Manhattan Project. Identify the problem. Do something about our really troubled schools. And that might mean changing neighborhoods, providing medical and dental clinics, making sure that there are affordable goods in a walkable distance, doing something about inner city transportation, a whole mob of things like that. But I think we could do it. I mean, if we could put together a Manhattan Project that produced the atomic bomb, we ought to be able to put together a Manhattan-like project that would address the problem of our most troubled neighborhoods and schools, and then lay off putting all this junk on all the other schools. We don't need it. Leave them alone. That's what I would tell him.
If you could have dinner with anybody dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, I like having dinner with anybody.
Dead or alive?
I don't. No, when I'm away from home, I would like to have dinner with my husband. I miss him,
So sweet.
Well, it's true.
That's good. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I'd like to hear him say, I exist. But I don't think that will happen.